Hi, Courtney.
Hello. I'm looking to.
Mike.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm updating my name. I've got on so many different calls. My name is Mike May. I am the Chief Operating Officer for your Outreach Coordinator, MP May Incorporated. Also contracted not only to do that, but also contracted by the Office of Personnel Management to be the National Charity Recruitment Outreach Coordinator. So we work with charities, have been working with charities for about 33 years, helping them market themselves in the campaign, having them understand what the combined federal campaign is and its value to you as a charity. I'm joined today by your area director, Bruce Jacobs, who is another longtime expert. In fact, when the Office of Personnel Management used to have a face-to-face training in the CFC, they would ask Bruce to come out and do that CFC 101. Because he was so proficient at helping charities understand the campaign. And we're also joined today by Jennifer Howard, the national director from our team, your OC team. MP May runs 21 zones of the 36 zones. So I'm going to share a screen with you. And so everything, and these are all the zones, everything but California, which is odd because that's where I'm headquartered, and the East Coast is run by MP May. And today we're working with the
Mike,
Western.
we're only seeing your desktop. If you're, in case
Want
you're,
to see all my screenshots on my desktop?
that's what we're seeing. So just letting you know.
It looks like a beautiful wine country photo, or maybe it's Tuscany. I'm not sure.
It's it's Sonoma. I think that's the new I think that's the new iteration. So yeah, it is nice. I can't find it, but I'm out here. So today we're doing Western area, which is 9, 10, 7, and 6, and Alaska. So that is Desert Southwest, Mountain States, Cascadia, Pacific Northwest, and Alaska. So again, Bruce is your area director. Jen is the national director, and Courtney is also on, and she'll help us with any questions we have or we need, because she's the one responsible for your interface with the CFC events system this year. And I know a lot of folks are having challenges with that. We certainly are on both the charity end and the campaign management end. So thank you all again very much for joining us. Hopefully, we're gonna get through in about 45 minutes, but we do a lot of training in the chat. And what I mean by that is, would you please put in the chat your name, where you're calling in from, and your years of CFC experience? Because what happens on these trainings invariably is folks come on and they're new to the CFC. They've been volunteered for this responsibility by their organization a month ago, 6 months ago, and this is the first time that they have worked with the CFC, and they don't know anything about it. I want you to know, Lindsay's, who else was it? It was brand new. So Lindsay's 2 years, Maggie, brand new. 7 years is pretty good, Cynthia. Erica, 4 months. Emmett, 1 year. Sean, first year. So what, I bring that up because I want you to know, it's like, this is a safe space, okay? This is a CFC safe space. You can ask any question you want about the CFC. And it's not a question I haven't heard at 8 o'clock this morning, at 10 o'clock this morning. Yesterday, we had 2 other trainings. We'll have another one tomorrow with local charities. And so please ask a question, put it in the chat, or raise your hand and we will unmute you. And you can ask any question you have. And I specifically am addressing the newcomers because I know you came here with a few questions, and there's no way as good as me and my team train, and we are the best at it, that we answer all your questions. So please, as we go through this, raise your hand and make sure that I get your questions answered. Today, we're going to talk about how the CFC works, the 2024 theme and materials. We're going to flip this around. We're going to talk about participating in the CFC, and then we're going to talk about marketing in the CFC. So again, we're going to try to be done in, 40 minutes, about 45 after, and give you about 15 minutes left, but we'll stick around for the whole hour, and we look forward to talking with you and answering your questions. I want you to know that 2 of those zones that I showed are on the top of the list, Desert Southwest and Mountain States, just because of their size, are number 2 and 3 in the national totals. And the campaign overall, as of right now, is up 15%. The good news about that, last week it was up 9%, on Monday it was up 12%, and now it's up 15%. We continue to see growth in the campaign. And the reason that we're seeing that early growth, there's a lot of reasons, but it's the work that Jen's doing and that Bruce is doing to get federal employees trained and educated about how the CFC works. For the charities, how the CFC works, as you know, you apply to participate, you apply December, January, you get listed to engage federal communities, and through that you make a difference. The number one way that you engage federal employees, go to Give CFC, click here, find a charity, and this is the number one way that you engage federal employees. By listing here and using your statement, your overhead, your name, you get to include your logo, a link to your website, and this is how the majority of federal employees do their searches to find CFC charities. So make sure, if you don't already know this, to go to Give CFC, click on Donate, and then check out your listing in the Combined Federal Campaign. It can't be changed now, it's set for this year, but make sure you check it out, and then make sure you know your CFC number. And we're going to talk about that a little bit when it talks about marketing. But make sure you know your CFC number, so when you reach out to federal employees and you provide them a link or encourage them to give to you this year or give to you again through the CFC, because they gave to you last year, that you include your CFC number to make it easy for them to find you, because when they come here and they put in your CFC number, you're the only one that comes up. Okay? There's no possibility for you to get the link to your listing, because as you can see, this is a pop-up window. It doesn't change to CFC offerings or offerings slash 87648. So you have to send them to CFC offerings, use your CFC number, and up comes your organization. So that's the number one way you engage federal employees. We're going to talk a little bit more about how you can engage them and reach millions of federal employees. This is the only system in the entire federal government that runs across all CFC departments and agencies. DOD, postal, civilian, active duty. Everybody can access this, and more. In fact, we just saw last year, the State Department contacted OPM. They had not been wanting to, because of security reasons, use the CFC site. They were running their own site, and now they're using it. We've seen the Air Force Relief Fund use this site. This is the number one site at cfcgiving.opm.gov that federal employees use as their HR benefit for charitable giving. And what that gives you is a steady source of unrestricted funds. The campaign runs from, anybody know when it opened? Anybody know? You can put it in the chat. I'll give you a virtual CFC cup if you get it right. Opened on September 1, and it closes on January 15th. And many of you are probably saying, September 1, why are we doing this training in October? That's because the system's open. We don't get to see the systems before they open up, and we have to begin training, and we have to understand what's changed in the system. And anyways, federal departments, if you go to them in September and say, let's train or let's do your CFC campaign, they'll give us the Heisman. They're like, no, because it's the end of the federal fiscal year, September 30th. So the campaign doesn't really start until October 1. Jen says it doesn't start till the Tuesday after Indigenous People Day, which was yesterday. And we've seen about 10, 15, 12% of the campaign being raised so far. What we're doing right now, what you're doing right now, and you know this because you all are professional fundraisers and your annual appeal, and you do this throughout the year before your annual appeal in December, is you're making impressions. You're thanking donors. We're training people. We're having events. In fact, later on, I'm going to have Jen show some of the events through the Slack site. Jen, that was so encouraging to show those pictures of the events. You were looking at it like, what'd they do here? It's incredible what some of the ingenuity that federal employees have when they're motivated. And I want to stop there and thank you for being part of the CFC, because it's you that inspire them. It's you that inspire us, your programs, the work you do locally. You know, for 63 years, 64 years, charities have engaged with federal employees through the CFC. It's a CFC, it's a federal employee tradition, and it's the work that you do, not the CFC. The CFC is the mechanism. It's like saying a donor advised fund. Nobody cares about a donor advised fund. They put money there, but it's you, what you do and how you promote yourself that inspire us, inspire the volunteers, the 2,000 volunteers that Jen and Bruce and Courtney work with each year, and the individual donors. So thank you for what you do. You get to track your donations through the CFC website at CFC Charities. We're going to go there in a minute. And donors are also available to pledge to your organization volunteer hours through the CFC. This year's theme is Give Happy. It was the same as last year's theme. It was received okay, positively, but there were some charities just like you that said, hey, we like the theme, we get it, but my program is not happy. Homelessness is not happy. Cancer is not happy. And we listened. And the National Marketing Campaign came back with what they call impact statements. So now you can give hope, you can give stability, you can give health, you can give shelter. And I think this is a much better way for the campaign and for you to promote your programs through the campaign, because it's not happy what a lot of you do. The results of it is, the end result of it is, but when you're in the trenches, helping your beneficiaries, homelessness, people with health problems, children with mental health problems, all those things that you do, feeding the hungry, sheltering the homeless is so important, and it's not happy, but it can be when federal employees give to you. And so you also might know that we used to do the campaign by cause weeks. So September 15th would be homeless shelter week, and the next week would be education. What we know is the individual volunteers want to have their own campaign decisions on what the weeks are. And so now they have cause areas, and we don't necessarily tie them to weeks. So let's say you're at the EPA in Seattle, and you've decided that you want to run a 6-week campaign from November 15th through Giving Tuesday and through the end of the year. For whatever reason, you're going to wrap it up at the end of the year. You then can go and pick, okay, I want animal welfare week 1 and children and family support week 2, and you can design your campaign around a campaign time or a battle rhythm that works for you as far as what the issues are that you want to support. We still provide a sample timeline. Coincidentally, when Milton ran through Florida, that was week 7, right after, that was October 7th, and it was the week of on the sample timeline for disaster and crisis response. So what we know is, and you guys know this, you're outreaching to donors throughout the year. We're doing it throughout September, October, November. They might give to you at your annual appeal at the end of the year. but you want to talk about different issues that your organization supports. CFC is doing the same thing with cause areas. People will support ending poverty. People can support arts and humanities, and you will find everything here at the giving site. And so you know, the name and the statement is what is searched when people put in search words. So I put in maternal just because we were doing this earlier, and the pregnancy decision centers came up in Columbus, Ohio, because maternal is in their statement. So know that your statement is what is, and your name is what is used when donors go to search for charities. And I'm not saying make your statement, a list of, SEO words, search engine optimization words, because you want to tell a story about what you do, but make sure you have those keywords that people use when they Google search you or find you, and use that in your statement. You can't change it this year, but we can absolutely help you change it next year. And this is how it's an important component to your engagement for federal employees. There's an engagement guide that I want everybody to download. How do you get to it? You go to Give CFC, click on Charities, and right at the top, they have the engagement guide. And I'm gonna put it right here in the, yeah, there we go, that looks right. And you can download it there. It gives you a lot of information on how you promote yourself, messaging that you want to use, connecting through social media, making a CFC video, and what the compliance requirements are. It's kind of word heavy for me and my staff. If you send me an email with this much text, I probably won't read it, but take some time, look at it. It goes through all the components of how you successfully engage federal employees, and it's right there on your charity recruitment page or charity page. Go to Give CFC, click on charities, and everything we're talking about here today is right there for you. So make sure you download that. And this is the resource page. I don't like just going off slides. Slides keep me on track, but I like going to the live site. So that's why we're bouncing back and forth. Now, this is important because the number one thing that you want to do this week, maybe next week, not tomorrow on Friday, send it on Monday, is you want to thank your previous donors. Does everybody know where you get your previous donors from the Combined Federal Campaign? These are people that released your name. You go to your account at CFC Charities.opm.gov. So CFC Charities. And you log in. And because I'm not a charity, I get reports here. Jen Bruce and I go in here to get reports. This is where all the reports are provided to us. But when you log in here, what you're going to see right here at the top is the name of your charity, right under CFC Charity. You click on that, and what's going to come up is a page that looks like this. And this page provides you with all the historical data your organization needs to successfully participate in the campaign year after year after year. It's what we call your best friend in the CFC. Now, right now, we're not going to talk about applications. We'll talk about that in December. We're not going to talk about listing. We'll talk about that next June. But we want to talk about pledges, because when you go to your pledge section, see this view over here? When you click on that, you come to the next page that provides you with two blue buttons at the top. The first one on the left shows you all your pledges. In this example here, we get to see a Houston local nonprofit and where they got all their pledges from. And no surprise that they got a majority of their pledge from the Johnson Space Center in Houston. You want to do the same thing. This is not donor names and contact information, but it helps you a lot when you're deciding, hey, what events do I want to go to? What events did I go to? And at the end of the year, did I get pledges from that department or agency where I supported them in the CFC? So take a look at that. But the blue link on the right over here is where you'll go to download your donor names. And it goes all the way back to 2017. And make sure you thank those donors. Next week, remind them, again, that's how you make the impressions. While only 12% of the campaign is in right now, 60% of the campaign comes in from Giving Tuesday through January 15th. So while you make your impressions now, federal employees have a Post-it on their computer saying give to the CFC, and they're going to take that Post-it off when they go home for the holidays or when they get around to giving by the end of the year. And they're going to remember your organization, they're going to remember your CFC code, and they're going to click and give. And what you want to do, we see 3 big spikes in giving during the campaign year, and they correspond directly with OPM's own email to all donors, reminding them that they gave through the CFC last year. We saw a big spike early on in the campaign, end of September, early October. OPM sent that email out. We'll see a big spike before Giving Tuesday, and Giving Tuesday is the largest giving day of the giving year. And then we see a big spike when they send out the reminder before the campaign ends. You want to see those same big spikes. So download those names, and whether it's 1 name or 10 names or 100 names, do it so federal employees give. It's a cool thing federal employees can do after they give, and Jen will show you, it's pretty cool what they did at one of the UPS stations, where they'll put an I gave badge on their signature for their emails. And that's what you want to promote. You want to promote federal employees giving to you, supporting you and your program again. And you do that best by reminding them next week that they gave to you in the past. And hey, if it's a 2017, it's an email address, that's okay. My brother's a 30-year U.S. Marine Corps veteran. He still has the same Yahoo address, yahoo.com address for his email address. So when you send him a thank you for giving to you through the CFC, it's going to go to his same email. If they retired, they have the same email address. And retiree giving is the #1 sector of growth the CFC has seen the past few years. So remind those donors. The only thing you can't do with those, anybody know what you can't do? You're certified every year. You can't sell, you can't lease, and you can't share those CFC names. You certify that every year with your CFC application. So Jen, do you want me to jump down to CFC events? Are there any questions, Bruce? Anything I missed?
We haven't actually had any questions in the chat yet.
We're doing that good, huh?
I guess so.
I have put a bunch of links into the chat, so hopefully you guys are grabbing those. We've put the link to the website that Mike has showed you, where we are navigating and clicking on all these links, the engagement guide, etc. The site where you access your CFC account, CFC charities, what is that one? Yeah, cfccharities.opm.gov is in there. If you can't access your account, I've also provided the information for who to contact to get your password reset, to gain access. That's unfortunately not us. It is the CCA, the Central Campaign Administrator, that you'll contact. They're super helpful. I suggest calling them, but there is a phone number and an email that you can use to get connected with them. Those 2 links, the Give CFC website and the website for your account, in my opinion, you guys should have bookmarked and be visiting them somewhat regularly throughout the campaign, whether you're looking at resources here to understand, the cause areas and how to promote your campaign, or just checking your results and pulling down donor names, etc. in your own CFC account. You should be staying connected to both of those sites. So I suggest bookmarking them.
So we're going to jump to CFC events, and I'm going to end with Jen's presentation on marketing to the CFC, because I like it so much. I want to finish strong, as we say. So CFC events, this is a key component for you to engage the federal community in your area. And we have seen an uptick as the federal government has come out of their COVID posture. 2 years ago, nobody was in the office. Last year, they had to, during the campaign, I think it was 1 office day per pay period, which is every 2 weeks. And it's almost impossible to have a kickoff event because you never knew when everybody was going to come into the office. This year, I think it's 4 per pay period, and you're seeing a lot of people come into the office a lot more. We know they're using CFC as a way to get to know their colleagues again. We were talking with an SBA organization, I think GSA organization, and they said, I've been with GSA for 10 years. 50% of our workforce has been hired since 2020. I've never met them in person. So now they're using CFC to come back, get folks together. You're going to see these pictures from CFC events that Jen's going to show you, and they're happening right now. We just engaged with the USPS in, let's see, did that go directly to you? Did my share stop, Jen?
I attempted.
still show me.
Can you see my screen now, Bruce?
Yes, I just want to make sure everybody sees your screen and not mine. Good.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go through some of this. So we heard from the USPS in Dallas, and we're seeing this all across the country. They're probably going to have 70 events in the next 3 months. And they can't wait to get started, and they can't wait for them to be face-to-face. It's almost like old times. So you want to go through some of these, Jen. It's just so much fun to see how creative and innovative federal employees are and how enthusiastic they are. It really fills our cup.
So these are postal employees out of Houston, Texas, that are sharing. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Slack. Maybe you guys are in some capacity. Our team uses it as an internal communication tool. And so my team will post pictures and events here. And then eventually the stuff does make it to our social media pages as well. But it is so exciting to see so many in-person activities being requested and held. Man, popcorn machines, right? Popcorn machines and dogs. Like, you want your table next to the table that has the dog because everybody goes to that table, right? And then, the popcorn machine, people smell the popcorn and they come. So they're definitely getting creative. They've got the QR code for giving. They're using our table kits and our materials that we're sending out to them. Lots of postal activity. There's our federal feud. The military have patches that they're wearing on their sleeves, which is really awesome. As well, they're bringing fun to their events, and charities are at these events, right? You're getting requests. So I know, Bruce, thank you for dropping into the chat, the direct link where you can register. Guys, just because you were approved for the CFC, and congratulations, it's not easy to get through that process. That does not automatically register you for events. You have to register, okay? So please, if you have not done this yet, click on that link now and get prepared. Get your registration in, because our coordinators that we've been training are making their plans, working their plans for their campaigns. And as they go in right now and schedule their events that you see are happening by these pictures, as they schedule them, if you're not registered, you're not being selected to go. So you got to get in that system right now and get your organization registered if you're not already registered. Again, great tabling that they have, and lots of charities. You can see in this picture at Pensacola, it looks like there's a feeding organization, Manna. I can't really tell all of them, but you can see the nonprofits tables and their their tablecloths and their information is being presented. So, note to self, if you're invited out to table, make sure your table is fun and you bring those fun giveaways. Have your CFC code present and publicized at your table as well, and expect that there will be more people attending in person, which is wonderful. Candy this time of year, it's a great time. I'm sure you guys are aware because of the Halloween candy bags, all those little bite size. Go grab a couple and keep them handy so that you can put them on your table. We've got balloons. This is actually an example of the table kit that we as an outreach coordinator created for our coordinators, knowing that they were going to be returning to the workplace this year and hosting more in person. We wanted them to be prepared to have a CFC table. And so you can see here that they're utilizing the table kits that we're providing them to promote the CFC. They've got huge balloon arches. Those things are a pain if you've ever built one. I'll never do it again. I did it once, one and done. Activities they're doing. I don't know what this is, but I'm super curious. This organization was, I think is it Memphis, IRS in Memphis, Tennessee, has some sort of, it looks almost like the pretzels you get on the plane, the airplane bag, and it's a thank you. And then on the back, the nutrition facts are the impact words: nourishment, knowledge, support, opportunity, inspiration, 100% all the way down, which is pretty clever. I don't know who did this, but I love it. They've also got some cookies and stuff that they've done. I mean, you guys have seen the lifesaver, be a lifesaver, kind of play. I hadn't seen this now and later one where they say what you give now helps somebody later. I think that's really, really clever, because federal employees that are making pledges that will be payroll deduction, those don't start until January. So it's so appropriate that they would say give now, help somebody later, because it's pledge now, give later. Those deductions start in January. They've got some sort of like train going on here. I'm not sure what's going on. They're going through the building. You can see they're happy. Just tons of activity, people showing up. They've got a leadership team, tons of posters. I mean, it's happening. We've got people back in the workplace having fun. Charities are showing up, supporting the CFC. Volunteers are enjoying it. They're attending, learning more. And as Mike said, giving is up. We're starting very strong. And this is all before yesterday. Again, in my opinion, the campaign really starts getting going right now, because September is fiscal year end. And so we do a lot of training, and we're still recruiting even different volunteers and such. So to have this strong of a turnout with events already in the season is really encouraging. And I think it does speak to the results being up as high as they are. So be encouraged. And if you get invited out to these charity events, please, take pictures, post them on your social media, tag our zones, tag the zone that you're a part of, and promote and publicize your organization. Have fun with it, because the federal employees are ready for you to come out and support them. So very exciting.
And this is what it looks like this is the Ohio CFC's, we'll let Jen go through, but this is the Ohio CFC posting at a golf tournament this year at an event. So these do get posted. They'll get posted to your local. This is the CFC Ohio website. So going to events, registering for events, very important to get it right. And it's a wonderful option for you to get face-to-face with federal employees, show your appreciation. And again, you inspire us, you inspire giving when you show up at events. Registering for events, you go to the Give CFC website, click on charities, and come down here. And this is important, because I think in our invite, I know in a couple other of our training sessions, we've encouraged you to go in and participate and register. So hopefully everybody has registered, but you got to register right. And it's not easy. It's not easy for us. We know how the system works, and still it's not easy. And so go back in here, make sure. And the reason you'll know if you did it right is you want to check, did you get an email from notifications@cognitoforms.com? If you didn't, this is how they confirm what you entered through the registration process. So you have to search for that in your email. A lot of times it came to us as junk, because I don't know Cognito Forms. And so I had to check my junk mail. So go check your junk mail and make sure that they have it right. So go back through and say, yeah, that's correct. That's correct. I did Spanish and English. I'm a local charity. I chose Mountain States. as my local. I want to do in-person and virtual events. But when I picked Colorado, or I picked Montana, or I picked Utah, let's do with Colorado. I thought when I picked Colorado, I was getting included in all counties, and that's not the way it works. You have to click Colorado. All that does is filter your organization for just Colorado, because say you're in Boulder and you just want to be, invited to Colorado. You can't go up to Idaho, and you're not going over to Salt Lake City for events, and nor should you. But you're in Boulder, and I don't know, whatever. But make sure that you have listed and chosen all the counties you want to travel to, not the county where you're located. If you just do the county where you're located, all those adjacent counties where federal employees and events might happen, and very often charities on the outskirts of Denver or Boulder, and might not be in that county where a lot of the activities happening. You have to click those counties where you will travel to. So go back to that Cognito Forms, make sure you have all the counties that you want to travel to included. And if you don't, send an email to CFC support.
I already put it in there, Mike.
Okay. And they will help you update it, or reach out to Courtney at CFC admin at MP May, and she can also verify what's in your record with the CFC events system. Because as Jen says, we trained last week, and we have over 2,000 volunteers, federal employee volunteers, that are running campaigns in their offices. And I think last go around, 700 were trained via Zoom, and 600 were trained via Teams. And a lot of them are just now planning their campaign. We're making impressions, you're making impressions on them ahead of their gift that really starts going in November, December, and January. And so you want to be invited. And I can't tell you, Bruce, have you had instances where you've had coordinators set up events and they couldn't locate charities?
Yes.
Charities. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, recently, in fact, we had a coordinator very excited about 3 events that she was having in Ogden, Utah. She's with the Internal Revenue Service. IRS is a huge employer in northern Utah. I think they have around 5,000 employees, and she didn't have any charities signed up to attend. We had to reissue the request for charities to register with the system so that enough charities would respond to the invitation that went out. And so just that's how important it is to make sure you're registered and to follow these instructions. Mike is showing you here. Click every county in the state where you're willing to travel so that you won't be left out of any invitations that may go out.
Courtney's got her hand up, Mike.
Yeah, I muted myself. Yeah, Courtney.
I also want to reiterate, after I had a meeting with them today on the percentage of charities that are not responding, either the wrong email has been put in or the emails are going to someone that is not in charge of this and shouldn't be over that. So when you register, you need to make sure that you're putting the email address of the person that will be doing this, because the numbers that she gave me today, 19% of charities are responding.
Whoa.
And that's across the board. So when we're asking for 5 charities, she's telling us go in and ask for triple, because only 19% are responding.
And that's part of the system. It's kind of goofy because when you enter it, you put in your charity name, you put in your name, your email. That's not who's getting invited. The person that they want is this person, and these are the people they're inviting. So if that's the same person, great, put in the email twice. Put in different emails, put in different email addresses. I need a second POC for events in Mountain States. Put in 2 email addresses to make sure your organization gets invited, because these are great fundraising opportunities. They're great PR opportunities with federal employees. You see how much fun they have and how excited they get. And we want you there. You want to be there. Also know that if you do in-person and virtual events, you will also be restricted to the counties where you've selected. So you would think, I would think, they would invite you, if you're a local charity, to any event that's virtual in your zone because it's virtual. That's the whole idea of being virtual. But no, that's not the way the system works. It's only if you want to attend virtual events. It's going to be my number one feedback in our after action report. So when you get, and this is what a invitation looks like
Who's
this.
it coming from, Mike? Is it still the Cognito Forms deal? Like what's the domain so that they know what to look for?
I think it's CFC support, right?
Courtney, do you know?
Courtney, do you know? I can pull it up.
As far as the invitations,
Yes.
Yeah, I want them to know what
yeah,
to
give me just a sec, because
Thank
I
you.
have some.
Yeah, guys, when you get the, when you register, okay, so two things. One, I put in the chat, cfcsupport@charity.org. If you need to change anything with your registration, if you're not getting invites, if you don't find that confirmation, anything that you need with regards to your event registration, you need to email that email and let them know what it is that you need. Make sure you give them your CFC code, your charity name,
Comes
and
from
it's the
CFC support.
CFC support@charity.org.
At charity.org.
That's where all the invites come from.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
the same email you're going to be sending your communication to if you have any challenges, if you need support with your registration process. So one, that's the email. Save that email in case you have any challenges. But when you register, selecting all counties just ensures that everything in that zone you are considered for virtual in-person events, right? You just go into the queue for that randomizer to consider your organization when it pulls charities. You can always decline. If you're in Anchorage, if you're in Fairbanks, I know there's somebody named Kim from Fairbanks. If you're in Fairbanks, Alaska, and you're not driving to Anchorage, I'm highly aware of that, to attend an event that's in person, just decline it. You can always decline events that are too far to travel to. If it's virtual, then jump on and join, right? There's no reason we can't join virtually. You can always decline. We don't want you to miss out on opportunities. We'd rather you decline them than not get them at all. So if you selected specific counties, you might go back and just say, hey, can you update my registration to be all counties in the zone? I would like to be considered for all counties. And that way you get the opportunity to be considered for any event that's scheduled in that zone. And to Courtney's point, when you get those invitations, respond to them. When you look at them, if you can't go, decline it. Don't just go over the email and move to the next and do nothing with it, because you're holding a spot. The system is waiting for your response. And until you say yes or no, it's not going to give the next charity an opportunity. So your friends right here on this call, you're doing a disservice to them by not responding to that invitation. Please either accept it or decline it as soon as you see it, so that if you can't go, another charity can be invited in a timely manner. Because unfortunately, as much as we train our coordinators to plan ahead and, 2 weeks or more notice for you guys, they don't all do that. It's just not possible for them. Sometimes their events are stood up with a week notice or less. And when that happens, we have that really quick turnaround time that we've got to push these events through. So please, when you get invitations, be responsive to them. Let's change that 19% and let's get it more like 80% response rate. Let's not have a 20% response rate. Let's flip that number. Please respond to your invitations. And if you're not getting invitations and you're registered, email that CFC support@charity.org and say, hey, I'm registered. I haven't received any invitations. Can you help me understand why I'm not being invited? Ask the question.
Lindsay, I can't unread. We did receive a direct outreach from a local agency. That agency can't do that. They can't go directly to charities. They need to go through the system. I know this system sounds very inefficient, but having a federal agency outreach to you as a charity directly is not allowed. And the only thing you should do is just send that outreach to Bruce, and he'll follow up with that with the agency directly. Usually what happens, and this isn't, it's an era of commission. They didn't mean to do it. They didn't know any differently because, sometimes, and we are constantly looking for who the people are in each agency that has been assigned CFC duty. And we have 1,400 now, we're gonna get another 600 in the next 2 months. Because there's a lot of agencies out there, and it's up to us to find them. So forward it to Bruce. Nobody's in trouble.
Yep.
It's just gonna be a, hey, and then we'll do everything we can to make sure that you're included in that agency's event when they put it through the system. The other way you would do it would be chaos. Individual agencies contacting charities locally, they would contact charities. We've seen this. Aren't in the campaign. We've seen charities contact agencies and disrupt people when they find out that they're a CFC coordinator at Tinker Air Force Base or Wright-Patterson or, the Air Force Academy. It becomes a real distraction, and it's a very unproductive workforce, and CFC won't accept that. Federal government won't accept that. So they need to go through the central campaign. We've talked a little bit about events. I'm going to turn it over to you, Jen, to talk a little bit about VetTix and how to, as we wrap up and get towards the top of the hour, so you can see a real success story by an organization. And I'm going to turn it over to you. There you go. You just took it from me. Good for you.
All right, so I'm back on the site. You can see my screen. All right. Charities tab. We talked about, okay, so promoting and publicizing your campaign. This first link here, promote yourself and the CFC, is one of my favorite pages for you guys. It's probably the most text heavy link, but there's so much here that's very useful. And honestly, charities, when I look at this stuff, I know that you guys are involved in city, municipality, other campaigns. When I look at this stuff can be used beyond CFC. I mean, you'd want to remove the CFC component of it, but there's a lot of great language, talking points, ideas that you can kind of, I don't know if steal is the right word, but utilize in your fundraising efforts for your organization. So be cognizant of that as you look at it. But when you come here, one of the first things they give you is the CFC logo. And that's this star here that says CFC. That is a very small piece of real estate. You can see it on Bruce's virtual background as well. It's a very small piece of real estate that federal employees are very familiar with. The federal government is our nation's #1 largest employer, right? Federal employees know that logo. So your website, your social media, your newsletters, anywhere that you're promoting, publicizing, communicating with your donors or potential donors, you should have that CFC logo somewhere on those documents, on those assets, because federal employees are seeing it. Again, that's our largest employer. You may not realize that they're federal employees. They could be retirees. You may not know that, but they know who they are. And when they see that CFC logo sprinkled through your stuff, they say, oh, they're in my book? Cool. I didn't know I could give to them through my annuitant check or through my payroll deduction, right? They see it, they recognize it. So it's a really small piece of real estate that you can use to promote yourself. And there's other stuff. There's the QR code, the Give Happy stuff. Identity Guidelines gives you the font and the colors and other information about the branding. There's a messaging document, again, that helps you to craft stuff for your website, your newsletters, etc. So CFC has given you everything here to be successful in promoting yourself in the campaign. And you want to do this because you went through the process to apply, you paid to play. And while we do our best to promote and get you guys the FaceTime at these events, etc., your organization, the fact is that there's 5,000 nonprofits in the book. We've got 2,000 volunteers that we are actively supporting every day. And those are the people that we need to support day in and day out to make sure that they're running their campaigns, inviting their colleagues to give to you guys. we need your support in promoting yourself in this campaign in order for you to be successful. And one of the examples I'll give you of success is that when you, let's see, vettix.org, I think is their website. Vettix.org is a nonprofit in the CFC. And a couple years ago, they came to a training and they heard us talk about promoting themselves. So what did they do? Well, on their homepage, when you scroll to the bottom, along with their other seals of approval as a nonprofit, their top rated nonprofit, best in America, state registrations, all these seals that you have, and I'm sure many of you have some of these seals, they have their CFC logo there, right? So they put it here. They have the code. Their code 44909 is incorporated into that. And I do like that they even put in there how long they've been a part of the CFC, since 2011, right? So they heard us, they put this little piece of real estate on their page, and they took it one step further, that when you click on it, they show the people coming to their page how to give, even in providing them the link. I don't know about you, but I like to see examples of what's happening, because then I can say, hey, I would like this replicated on my site. Let's make it ours, of course, but let's do this on our site. This is easy. So when you see an application, it's easy to wrap your head around. You don't have to recreate the wheel. You can say, hey, just duplicate this on our site. They've provided a screenshot. They show you how to search their charity, click search, add it to the basket, check out, easy peasy, right? They've also incorporated CFC on their social media and their newsletters. Since they started doing these things 4 years ago, every year since, they have doubled their contributions. And I can't remember what the numbers are exactly off their head, but my point is, like, maybe they were raising 5,000. That next year they raised 10, then they raised 20. Now they're raising 40. Like, it's literally doubling. When you look at their giving, it's doubling each year. So it works when you promote yourself. How much time do you need to allocate and spend on this? Not a lot. If you spend 1 to 2 hours a week, let's say an hour attending an event each week and an hour worth of, sending some social media or emails out, that would probably suffice. When we get into November, December, and it's really busy, you might find that you do a little bit more, 3 or 4 hours a week, just because there's a lot more events going on. But that investment of time that you spend each week will increase your pledges. Absolutely. We see it with Vettix. It's happening. So
Thank you, Jen.
Yep, absolutely.
We had a couple people show up a little later, and sometimes with the multiple time zones that we have, which includes Mountain Time. I think there might be some in Central Time, and then we have Pacific Time, and then there's some Alaska Time. So if anybody, we're going to have a link to this training and the video. We'll make it available to everybody. We'll have Bruce send it out. But Jorge asked if I would go back over the process to how you thank your donors before we wrap this up. So Jorge, you go to your account at CFC Charities. So that's CFC Charities. Oops. OPM.gov. Come on, Mike. I have it bookmarked, Jen, I swear. I don't know why I'm typing it in. And you go and you log in, and it takes me right back in. And right here at the top, under CFC number, it'll be the name of your organization. And you click on that. So whatever the name of your organization is, it'll be a blue highlighted link. And when you click on it, you'll come to a page that looks like this. It'll have all your historical years that you've participated in the campaign. It'll have everything through 2017. So in this example, it has 2017, 18, 19, but if you were in 20, 21, 22, it'll have all 7 years. And don't pay attention to the application link, and don't pay attention to the listing link. That's for December and June of next year. But pledges shows you how much your total pledges were over the past 3 or 7 years. And then this link right here where it says view, click on that, and it's going to take you to a page that looks like this. Pledge overview for that year, and there's two blue buttons at the top of that page. Oops. Two blue buttons at the top of that page. They're right here at the top. You see the arrow coming down from it. The one on the left gives you details about every pledge you got, which is where did it come from, what was the department agency, whether it was online, whether it was paper, whether it was payroll deduction, or whether it was a one-time gift. That's not the one you want. The one on the right is the one that has all the donors that have released their name to you since 2017. So you'll have to go back, you have to click on, this one is 2017, but then you'll go back and you'll click on pledges 2018 and click on view. And then this will be 2018's list. So you'll download those donor names. Generally, they release their email addresses. They can release their physical addresses. Sometimes they'll release how much they pledge to you. Don't worry about tax receipts or any of that. CFC takes care of all that. You don't have to do any of that. But you do want to thank them. Any questions, Jorge? About... Got it. Cool. Right on. Okay. Any other questions? Jill, your question about attending an event, Bruce is diligent about training our volunteers to give charities 2 weeks. 2 weeks out, let's plan this event. So, Halloween, we're going to have an event. You want to have an event on Halloween, get it to us by the 17th today. And that's what our strategy is. That's the drum we beat. But if somebody comes to us on October 20th or October 25th and says, I want to have an event on Halloween, we will do everything we can, including inviting charities late for events, because that's what we do. And not everybody fits the mold the way you want it to fit. So if you get one that's late, you only have a day, 2 days, 3 days to turn around. I'm sorry. I apologize that happened, but there was nothing that the campaign could do about it. The coordinator.
Mike, the one that Jill's talking about was she just got an invite for a date that's behind us, like it's long past. So obviously that shouldn't have happened. I'm not sure why that happened, Jill, but definitely, as Bruce and I said, I would forward that invitation to that.
Forward that invite to
Can I finish?
Courtney.
Well, no, I gave her instructions. Forward it to CFC support@charity.org. Copy the CFC admin at mpmay.com. That's Courtney, because she leads our system, so that we are copied on the communication. And then just ask them the question, hey, we received this invite today. The date has passed. Happy to RSVP. No, curious why we got an invitation for an event that's already passed. And ask the question, because that should not have happened.
Yeah, because now I'm like wondering what event is this and why and how.
Yeah, so copy CFC admin if you don't mind, just because we would like to be aware of it as well. Sorry, Mike. That was the instructions I gave her, so.
Gotcha.
Mike, there's an email from Emmett Hansen. Who can I reach out to get some guidance on setting up a better profile on my organization?
Profile.
I think he's talking about his charity profile, his description. You were talking about that earlier.
Emmett, so if you're unhappy with your listing in the combined federal campaign, unfortunately, there's nothing you can do about it now. The campaign is locked, or this part is locked. Obviously, at some point you have to close it down. During the campaign season, you get approved. The application period runs January, closes in January, late closing is in February. After you're approved in June, you have what they call the listing period. And the listing period is when you can update your statement, you can confirm your overhead, you can change your categories of service, you can change your volunteer status and what your volunteer activities would be. So this presentation can only be done once during the listing period. In fact, you can't change it at all until you're approved for 2025, and then they close it when the listing period closes, and that's the end of August. So you have like July and August of next year to do that. So after you reapply, shoot me an email once you're approved in June. We can take a look at it and make sure you get the listing that you want. Was that answering?
So yeah, I was just gonna make sure so if you'd like some coaching on it, on how to better improve his profile, he can email you, mike@mpmay.com,
Absolutely.
during the listing period.
Yeah, during the listing period, which is July and August of 2025. Let's get you into the campaign first.
Okay, I'm gonna put that in the chat.
Perfect. Thanks, Bruce. Okay.
Mike, did we cover social media?
I showed the Ohio one, but I think you talked about it a little bit. I know it gets a little confusing because we've done, I think it's our third one today, third training.
I'll show you guys real quick, and I know we're at the top of the hour. I'll also post in the chat real quick. Every one of our zones has a Facebook page, and it's another easy way for you guys to promote yourself. So the links are on the chat. Bruce, I think I covered all your zones. If I missed any, feel free to add them there. The one I'm showing you on my screen is Cascadia. When you come to the Cascadia page, you'll see that we've got a post here just 20 hours ago that has to do with conservation. So if you're an environmental organization, that's great. You can see there's a post about volunteering, health, etc. There's tons of posts out here. They're all shareable. And so we've made it very easy for you as a nonprofit to come here, click share, have something that you type out. Hey, federal employees, we are CFC approved charity. Maybe tag your own page in this post, CFC code 12345. Thank you for, supporting the environment through your combined federal campaign. Something just short and sweet, but we've made it very easy creating content for you. If you have volunteer opportunities, come here, grab this post, share it, and use it to promote and publicize yourself on social media, bringing awareness to your organization's involvement. Because again, largest employer, they're seeing your page, they're seeing your post. When they see you're in their campaign, they're going to go, oh, I didn't know I could give to them through my campaign. And remember to tag the zone. So you can see elevations here, tagged as Cascadia's page. They use the hashtag GiveCFC, which is the hashtag for CFC, which is great. And they include their designation number, which is perfect. We want to make sure you include that designation number. Some people incorporate it into their infographics, etc. So when you come to anybody's page, a page like even your own, the mentions tab is where you see when people tag you. A lot of people wonder when, I know I learned, I'm not very savvy in social media, but when you come to the main page, I'd be like, why don't I see people's posts? They're tagging me, but I don't see it, right? I didn't know you had to go to this mentions tab to see when people are tagging you. So that's how you guys see that. If you didn't know, now you know. So learn something new every day, right? So go ahead, Courtney.
So guys, as to that event that some of y'all got the invite to, the reason being is due to the way it was input in the system. The coordinator went in and did copy and paste. Therefore, the system that they have will not allow it. And so we realized that there were 6 that Tribal never shot our way. Like we never received them. And so they fixed that yesterday. And so when they sent that out yesterday, that's what happened. So these have been sitting in the system for over 30 days and just got pushed over to MP May as of last night and this morning. So I apologize for that. I have told them that I need to know, and they are going to be checking every morning now to make sure that there's none in the unassigned for MP May. And if there are, they will be sending them directly to me. So moving forward, this should not be an issue, but that is what happened with that particular event.
Good to know, Courtney. And again, if you guys have challenges or what have you, please send them directly to that CFC support@charity.org and copy Courtney, her email cfcadmin@mpmay.com, so that we're aware of what's going on. The more we understand and are aware, the better we are to service all of you guys. You know, it's important that we have an understanding of what's happening. So thank you, Courtney, for that explanation. I appreciate that. Any other questions, or Mike, was there anything else you wanted to cover?
No. Thank you all, everyone, for joining us today, for partnering with us in the 2024 CFC. We're off to a good start, great start. But it takes momentum to keep the momentum going, and these impressions, getting the word out to federal employees that have given to you in the past, is the key way for you to continue to successfully participate in the CFC. So yeah, thank your donors, thank them now, thank them around Giving Tuesday, thank them at the end of the year. And if you have any questions, shoot Bruce an email, he'll get back to you. If it has to do with specific charity stuff like listing, he'll forward to me, and we'll make sure that you get everything the way you want it and the way we want it. But a lot of stuff comes up, and especially if you're first-time folks, you're not going to learn everything the first time for the first hour that you hear it from us. We appreciate that. So don't hesitate to, if you're driving home going, what did Mike say about thanking people? Does OPM send out the thank you, or do we send out the thank you? And you can just shoot me an email and I'll explain everything to you. Mike at MP and we're here for you. Thank you all again for partnering with us. And yeah, we're excited. Campaign's going well. But as we say right now in October, we're in the thick of it. So
yeah, Courtney will send out the recording to this after it's done downloading, along with that engagement guide post-meeting. So you'll have that in your inbox from her and her email. So again, if you have challenges or things with the system and you end up contacting them directly, you'll also have Courtney's email from the follow-up from today's training that she sends to you. So do communicate with Courtney as well if you run into anything. And of course, thank you for coming alongside of us with CFC, for participating and promoting yourself in the Combined Federal Campaign. Federal agencies are looking for you. They want to give to you and support to you. And also, most importantly, thank you for what you do in your communities. The work that you do day in, day out to serve the populations you serve, the communities you serve. Because of you, the world is a better place. And we're so grateful. So thank you for all you are doing each and every day and the work that you do, and for partnering with CFC. We are so grateful. Have a great rest of your guys' day.
thanks, Jen. Thanks, Bruce. Thanks, Courtney.